I'd always been a huge fan of WWE ever since I was young. I loved Lita especially. Tough, fierce, and not caring what anyone thought. I was like, that's gonna be me.
I remember watching Eddie Guerrero fly through the air, and I was thinking, I'm gonna be that someday.
I love the women's division, but I also grew up idolizing WWE superstars like Macho Man, the Hardy Boys, and Kurt Angle.
Even though my dad was the nature boy Ric Flair, I wasn't immersed in the world of sports entertainment until later, when I found my way to WWE. It was there I met amazing women who were determined to kick down doors and push the women's division into the spotlight.
We wanted to change the face of WWE, not just the woman in WWE.
We pushed each other. We made each other better.
We wanted to make a name for ourselves.
And we got a name, all right. The Four Horsewomen.
My dad hasn't been just an international star. He's left a lasting mark on WWE.
Ric Flair is and always will be the man.
He also influenced me as an athlete and performer, and he gave me a lot to live up to. I mean, he literally introduced me in my first NXT match against Bayley.
Ladies and gentlemen, my daughter, Charlotte.
The daughter of one of the great icons in the history of sports entertainment.
And I did pretty well in NXT, but I still felt like I had something to prove. I still needed to find my own voice as a competitor.
Oh, you're not getting cheered for?
And when I saw I was going up against Natalya, I finally had my opportunity. Natalya comes from a long line of WWE superstars, and she had her uncle Bret Hart at ringside, so I brought my dad. Not just for moral support, but because I wanted him there to see me continue the family legacy, to stand up and prove I was worthy of the name. So yeah, there was no way I was gonna lose this match. NXT was a fantastic experience. I mean, it's where we all got our start.
Those four women have completely changed the game.
This was before you saw a lot of the women's matches on the main roster. So NXT was a place where people like us could get a chance to find our style.
I'm the boss around here.
To really show what we can do.
What a match! What competition in this women's division!
We were all excited to join the ranks of WWE and to do it on our terms.
NXT wasn't just a chance to improve ourselves, but to improve the women's division as a whole, to put our stamp on it. So I was psyched to be in the Fatal 4-Way match against Bayley, Becky, and Charlotte.
For the first time in NXT history, a Fatal 4-Way match for the women's title.
But I was facing some of the strongest competitors in NXT in that match. Women I liked. I mean, Becky and I were practically partners. But at the end of the day, there could only be one boss. After the Fatal 4-Way, we were definitely on everybody's radar.
The Divas Revolution rolling on. These ladies raised the bar.
I had other superstars noticing how I handled myself in the ring. You'd hear rumors like, now we got everyone's attention.
At around the same time, the Give Divas a Chance hashtag really took off.
There was a match on Raw, Paige and Emma versus the Bella Twins, and it only lasted around 30 seconds.
Everyone's been talking about the hashtag Give Divas a Chance.
The WWE Universe, who had been watching not just WWE's women's division in action, but now also people like us in NXT. They knew that we were capable of more.
It is my honor to introduce to you tonight's first main event for the NXT Women's Championship.
This kind of match is why our women are co-main eventing tonight.
Bayley and I were scheduled to compete for the NXT Women's Championship. And we were willing to do whatever it took to beat each other, no matter how long it lasted, no matter how intense it got. and I wasn't gonna let an opportunity like that slip away.
All eyes were on us. The world asked WWE to give us a chance, and now we got it. And I wasn't gonna waste it. I had to win.
But you gotta say, one of the best matches in NXT history.
Bayley and Sasha's match was just incredible. That was the night the Four Horsewomen were born.
It made people sit up and pay attention. If you didn't know what we were capable of before that match, you sure knew afterward.
We have never seen something like that before. What a match.
That match didn't just change the way people looked at NXT. It changed the way they looked at women in WWE, period.
And of course, once you've had that kind of success, you gotta repeat it. Nobody wants to be a one-hit wonder.
So we went ahead and proved it again in an Iron Man rematch at NXT TakeOver Respect.
They tapped out! They tapped out!
These ladies raised the bar.
By now, the WWE Universe's reactions to our matches were undeniable. And that led to Sasha, Charlotte, and I getting bumped up to the main roster.
We weren't just fighting for ourselves. We were part of a revolution.
We were invited to SummerSlam for a 3-team elimination match, which was incredible. Not just the match, but being on such a big stage and thinking, okay, this is real. The women's revolution is in full swing.
But after the match, Becky and I had unfinished business with the Bella Twins. This is back when we were still, partners.
Becky and Charlotte were a great team. And they were best friends.
That was back before I got wise.
Anyway, we were still friends then, and we had to show the Bellas we were here to stay.
And after we beat Nikki and Brie on SmackDown, the Bellas knew we were a force.
I respected the Bellas and what they've done for the women's division, but I had my sights on the Divas Championship, and that meant I wasn't done with Nikki Bella.
It was the era of the Four Horsewomen.
Take a look at the future of women's wrestling.
The Bellas just didn't know it yet.
I knew that if I could take the championship from Nikki, I'd be the new face of the women's division. On the one hand, I'd be following in my father's footsteps, but I'd be doing it my way. I couldn't fail, not with all that on the line. My reign as Divas champion was incredible. I didn't think it could get any better, but WrestleMania 32 changed everything.
In the space of one night, we went from being called divas to being called WWE superstars, same as the men. The Divas Championship was replaced with the Women's Championship.
And not only that, Sasha, Charlotte, and I would be competing for that new title in a triple threat at WrestleFreaking-Mania.
All three of these superstars, their first matches at WrestleMania.
When we drove up and looked at the stadium, the ad on the side had Becky, Charlotte, and me front and center.
As it should be, you know what I mean?
It was surreal. It was unthinkable.
Crowd of over 100,000 for WrestleMania.
And of course, it was the biggest stage yet for the biggest title yet.
This is how you make an entrance at WrestleMania.
Again, my dad was there,
Accompanied by her father, the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
but I wasn't thinking about him. I was thinking about my own legacy. I was thinking about the championship.
with a frog splash!
Oh, my goodness.
This is incredible! Sasha looking for the bank statement on Becky Lynch to win the championship. Charlotte gonna send Sasha flying out of the ring. Figure eight, what's Becky gonna do? What's Becky gonna do? Sasha, look at Flair! Flair's on Sasha!
come on
Flair
now.
on Sasha! Flair on Sasha!
That is absolutely ridiculous.
The fan reaction to our WrestleMania match was beyond anything I could have expected.
We saw history made tonight by 3 superstars.
A lot of people were saying it was their favorite match of the night, which, damn right it was.
But I wasn't satisfied. Charlotte couldn't beat me on her own. She needed her daddy to keep me away from his little girl.
Sasha was a little jealous.
She's on the top of the mountain, she's the champ. But not for long, because these goosebumps she feels are for me. She may be the queen, but I'm the boss. And a few months later, at Raw, I got a chance to make that perfectly clear. And this time, Daddy wouldn't be around to help her.
Raw had its own women's championship, which was all well and good, but us ladies on SmackDown were laying it all on the line without any title to speak of. Soon enough, WWE saw the kind of traction we women were getting.
The SmackDown Women's Division is on fire!
And they recognized our work with a new championship exclusive to the Blue brand. The first ever SmackDown Women's Championship was the prize. And all I had to do to get it was defeat 5 other women.
The first ever women's six-pack challenge.
The last woman standing will be crowned the first ever SmackDown Women's Champion.
All of them were just as hungry for the title as I was. Well, almost as hungry. I'd last kicked my way through NXT. I'd been on the stage at WrestleMania. But I didn't just come to show off. I came for a championship.
Everything I have fought for has led me to this moment.
The night of Backlash, I was straight fire. And anyone in my way was gonna get their head slapped off. The SmackDown Championship was mine. I was the first to ever hold it. And regardless of what happened after that night, you always remember the first. After everything I'd fought through, I'd finally been recognized for what I always knew I was. The champ.
2016 was the year of firsts. I got my first championship win. Becky became the first SmackDown Women's Champion. But maybe the biggest first of the year was at Hell in a Cell, where Charlotte and I were the main event. This was the first time the women's main evented a WWE pay-per-view.
Hell in a Cell is maybe the most punishing match style in the entire WWE. I remember watching Triple H and The Undertaker back at WrestleMania 28.
Or Mankind being thrown off the top of the cage in 1998.
But there'd never been a women's Hell in a Cell match, ever.
Usually you reserve those matches for the most heated, brutal rivalries. And that's exactly what Charlotte and I had.
Sasha had my championship. She didn't deserve it. I did. So yeah, I was excited to step into the cell with Sasha. It gave me an opportunity to give back what was mine in a structure so punishing. Nobody would be able to deny my victory.
Back on SmackDown Live, Alexa Bliss had taken the championship from me and held on to it thanks to an alliance with somebody I never expected, Mickie James.
Becky Lynch looking like she'd seen a ghost. Mickie James just handed that championship to Alexa Bliss.
With Elimination Chamber coming up, I was hungry for some revenge. But at the same time, though, it was surreal.
Mickey's one of the greatest champions of all time.
I'd watch Mickie on Raw before I'd even started my career. I used to watch her and Trish and Lita growing up. So yeah, I'd kind of looked up to Mickie James in the past. By the time Elimination Chamber rolled around, those days were over.
So by early 2017, things were going well.
It's Bayley!
One of the most genuine superstars you will ever meet.
I transitioned fully from NXT to WWE's main roster, but I still wasn't satisfied. I didn't have a WWE championship, and of the 4 horsewomen, I was the only one who hadn't earned one. At this point, Charlotte was holding the title. She'd already had some incredible matches with Sasha.
Women will step foot inside Hell in a Cell. The Women's Championship will be decided in a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Which meant that if I was going to come after her, I need to do what the boss couldn't.
And so comes to an end one of the great rivalries in WWE history.
Bayley was cute. She loved to talk about how ever since she was a little kid, she wanted to be a WWE champion. It was adorable.
I was so glad to be on the main roster, finally. But I still had something else I needed to do. Ever since I was 10, it was my dream to be a WWE champion. And on Raw, I finally got my chance. And Charlotte, she may be a Flair, she may be WWE royalty, she may be the queen, but me, I'm something much, much stronger. I'm a hugger.
The 4 horsemen weren't the only superstars doing serious work during the women's revolution. You can't talk about the women's revolution without mentioning Asuka and her incredible strike style, or Ember, her acrobatics, or Paige, Alexa Bliss, Naomi, Tamina, Alicia Fox. They were all tough competitors, every single one of them. And you can't forget about Nia Jax.
Perhaps the most powerful force the women's division has ever seen.
We met before, and it hadn't gone so great for me.
And Nia Jax beats the boss. Wow.
Then I fought her at Fastlane, and look, I'm the boss. It takes a lot to face me. But Nia Jax, well, she didn't compete like anyone I faced before.
I'm the boss!
And I mean, I still beat her. It's me we're talking about. But that wasn't easy.
Nia Jax is a force to be reckoned with.
Nia Jax is like nothing you've seen before.
You know, I'm strong. I'm confident.
Here comes Nia! Look at the power!
I make no apologies for who I am.
She completely shook up the division. We just didn't have anyone like her on the roster.
Which is why it was so great to face her at WrestleMania 33 in a fatal 4-way.
At WrestleMania, when I eliminate each and every one of you, that title is gonna have a permanent home.
Once again, we were on WWE's biggest stage.
WrestleMania. It's the exciting next step in the women's evolution.
The following contest is a fatal 4-way elimination match for the Raw Women's Championship.
WrestleMania is every superstar's dream, you know? There's just nothing like it.
By WrestleMania 34, I'd competed in some high-profile matches at other WrestleManias.
Charlotte on the top rope, moonsault! Moonsault by Charlotte!
But they don't get any less intense, any less nerve-wracking. And if you want to talk nerve-wracking, stepping into the ring with Asuka is not for the faint of heart.
Fasten your seatbelts. The Empress of Tomorrow has arrived.
With those blistering kicks. Asuka has the Asuka lock. Asuka is going to WrestleMania.
Asuka is a phenomenon. Starting with her time in NXT through her run on WWE's main roster and going into WrestleMania 34, she was undefeated.
You'd wonder how she could have gone undefeated for so long, but when you see the way she moves in the ring, her speed, the power of her strikes.
Her streak lasted 914 days. 914 days until WrestleMania 34, until she faced me.
Following WrestleMania 34, the women's division was in the best place it had ever been. We'd had great matches at WrestleMania, we were regular features on Raw, SmackDown, the pay-per-views, and sometimes we were main eventers. But all that was just a prelude to what came next.
Evolution.
The first ever all-women's pay-per-view. I can't even put into words how important this was.
It was confirmation that no, this isn't a fad. This isn't going away, that we're damn good at what we do, and we're here to stay.
But we couldn't just take it easy, you know? This was the biggest chance yet, and we had some serious competition. The Riot Squad.
Even before they joined forces back when they were in NXT, the members of the Riot Squad were dominant. Honestly, they reminded me a lot of the horsewomen in me. The same tenacity, the same charisma, the same drive to win.
We knew the Riot Squad wasn't gonna go down easy, so we teamed up with Natalya. It reminded me a lot of our NXT days, except this time, the stakes were much higher. It felt really good to team up with two people I respect, and we managed to get the big win that night.
Of course, there was a much bigger match that happened at Evolution between me and Blondie here.
Becky and I have had a complicated relationship.
What's complicated? She sucks. That's not complicated.
Becky and I were friends. Best friends since NXT. We had our matches against each other, but they were nothing personal until the day I won the SmackDown title in a triple threat match.
Natural selection! Charlotte Flair is a 7-time champion!
She snapped.
I saw things clearly for the first time. The friends aren't good for nothing except stabbing you in the back. Charlotte schemed her way into that triple threat. She should have never been competing for my title in the first place. And the WWE Universe agreed with me. Of course they did. Before that moment, I was really good. I'll give myself that. But after, I was unstoppable. I got my title back. I am the man. And I was gonna prove it at Evolution.
Evolution was the culmination of every struggle I had experienced in my career. Finding my own voice, proving myself on the main stage. Every setback, every heartbreak was all just a step on the road to the match at Evolution.
I'd crawled my way from the bottom all the way to the top. And in my match with Charlotte, I got to prove what everybody with half a brain already knew. I belonged there. This was a defining moment. Not just for me, not just for Charlotte, but for the entire women's division. At Evolution, we make history.
Having fought at Evolution, having been a part of the women's revolution, and having risen with the other 4 horsewomen up through NXT, I'm feeling good about the future of the women's division.
We weren't done. We wanted to see women headlining WrestleMania.
I'll admit, it's hard not to respect Ronda Rousey. She's done a lot for women in sports and entertainment, and it's easy to see her appeal.
From the moment she showed up in WWE, it was clear that Ronda was going to be in the spotlight.
Ronda Rousey's done it! Ronda Rousey's the Raw Women's Champion! One of the most dominating performances I have ever seen.
She took to the ring naturally, and her presence helped to elevate the division as a whole.
At first, a lot of us were happy to have her there. She had her fans in the locker room for sure.
But as good as she was, she sure seemed to enjoy the benefits of fame, just like a certain someone else.
She brought more eyes to the division, though, and we took advantage of that.
We've been pushing for the Women's Tag Team Championships for some time. And in February 2019, the titles were up for grabs.
A match will take place inside this dangerous devastating Elimination Chamber to determine the first ever Women's Tag Team Champions.
And as we had before, Sasha and I made history becoming the first ever WWE Women's Tag Team Champions.
The women's division had achieved so much throughout the year. And there was one more stop, WrestleMania.
I won the Royal Rumble in January and was headed for a title shot against Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. With a few hurdles along the way.
We need someone who's gonna take Ronda to the limit. We need Charlotte Flair.
Becky snuck her way into the Rumble, and I got careless.
We had all the momentum in the world leading up to April.
I had the WWE Universe behind me. And they started making it clear that they wanted to have the women main event on the grandest stage of them all.
The women's championship match kept getting bigger and bigger. And then the announcement was made.
For the first time in 35 years, our women will be the main event of WrestleMania.
But the news didn't stop there. One title on the line?
Charlotte Flair has done the unimaginable. She is the new SmackDown Women's Champion heading to WrestleMania.
Now the match was for two.
Both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships were up for grabs going into WrestleMania. I had fought my whole career for this moment, and there was no way I wasn't walking out as champion.
This is what it's all about, the main event of WrestleMania.
It's been my goal, our goal, to main event WrestleMania. It was never just talk. It was the hard work of every woman, past and present, to get us here.
Oh!
These women are trailblazers through and through.
The bright lights, the big stage.
There's a certain energy here tonight.
All eyes were on that match. We knew what it meant.
Oh my God!
Times have changed.
For all the women.
And all throughout this journey, it's been so satisfying to interact with the WWE Universe and know that they're with us. That they're just as excited about the future of the women's division as all of us are.
Thank you, guys. We did it!
Started it as a small ripple. It became a groundswell. And now this movement has taken over the world.
You know, we've all fought hard. We've all sacrificed a lot to get here. But we're not done yet. It's easy to look at WrestleMania 35 as the end of a journey, but it's not. It's the start of a new one.